We'll start our pattern here where we're going to take deer shape. So we'll internally rotate the right leg and externally rotate the left leg. For some of you, you might want to take a blanket underneath your hips. It's okay if your right hip is a little elevated. And then if you want, have your blocks in front of you, and I'll show you what I mean in a sec with that. Okay, so first, let's take a side bend over to the left to that externally rotated left leg, the inner thigh flipped open towards the ceiling. So let yourself side bend over that left side. And you can even take your elbow down and reach back. It's almost like an extended side angle. Drop into your breath. And then let's come on up from here and side bend a little to the awkward side. You might feel like a little congestion in that right hip. Just take it where it feels like a little challenging as you take your left arm up, out, and over. Notice the difference. And then let's come all the way over to the left again. But this time, circle your right arm all the way over to the floor. And it's okay if your right hip comes off a little. Maybe for some people, you let your elbows come down to the floor. Take a breath. Notice what you feel. You might encourage your right knee and right hip away from your head. Let's take that right arm up. Big rainbow over to the right, that awkward side bend with a little more resistance. And then circle that left arm over to the floor or your knee, maybe your fingertips, and take a few breaths into that. Maybe it's a little new. You can also keep that hand a little lifted. And then that left arm comes all the way back up. And notice if you're sitting a little heavier in your right hip after doing that work. So now we're going to point our toes, and you can be at about a 90-90 or maybe shorten that distance. So the angle between your lower and upper leg is a little tighter. And then see if you can come up and extend the hips forwards. So for some of you, that's where your blocks might come in handy. Press down into them and come up. And then you can engage your glutes and push your hips a little forwards if you like, and notice how that feels. Maybe even take your arms up and interlock your forearms or your elbows. And lift your back. Okay, let's turn a little towards this left leg. You might use your blocks for support, or you might challenge yourself to have your hands free. And take that left foot almost like forwards of the pubic bone, and then slide the right knee behind it. So you might use your blocks for that. Hopefully your left knee's still on the mat. It's almost like your front leg is in like a lifted pigeon, and your back leg is like the 90-90 lunge. Okay, from here, either use your blocks or take the weight into your back leg and step your left foot forwards. So this is our pattern. Now you're in the 90-90 lunge. Hopefully you're still on your mat. You have a blanket. If you want to pad your right knee, go for that. And then let's take our arms up. Tuck your pelvis a little so you can feel that hip extension in your right hip. And let your arms come up. Either hold your forearms or your elbows. And lift your chest up. You can also side bend here, so you might grab a hold of your right wrist and side bend a little to the left. Make it yours. Push down into your legs. Okay, we're gonna come on up, release our arms, and take our left foot, as steady as we can, back into like that pigeon shape, where the ankle is on the outside of the right knee. Then slide that right leg back. You can use your blocks or not. And turn to that left side of your mat and sit down. Okay, now sit down and notice your hips again. Has your right hip dropped a little more there? Now we're gonna take the legs all the way to the other side. And I'm actually gonna take my blanket out. And we'll do that side bend to the right this time. So it's right leg externally rotated, left leg internally rotated. That's the weird internal rotation for many of us. And then right arm up, out, and over. You might come onto your elbow and big side bend. Take a couple breaths. Okay, then come on up and do the kind of stranger side bend where you're feeling a little maybe congestion in that left hip as you take your right arm up, out, and over. For those of you who want a little more space, feel free to use a block. Okay, let's go all the way to the right this time. Big circle with your left hand. Take it to the right side on the outside of that right knee. Maybe both elbows down, turn your belly button to the floor and take a breath. Your left hip can be off of the ground. Simply exploring this creative movement with a sense of what's new here. And then left arm up and over, and then right hand comes across. You might find the floor with your fingertips. You might find the outer knee and pull on it a little and notice that difference. Come to center. All right, now we're gonna stand up on our knees and shins so you can adjust your feet but point your toes and come on up. Use your blocks or not. Take that right foot a little forwards, slide the left foot, the left knee behind it, and lift up. You can grab those forearms or elbows, maybe a little back bend in there. Engage the glutes down and lift the sacrum, the bone at the back of the pelvis, up. Then we'll shift the weight into that back leg and take the right foot forwards. Okay, so you're in the 90-90 lunge, arms up, maybe take the forearms or elbows. Can do a little tuck of the pelvis here and see how that feels on that left hip. Press down through your left shin and right foot. See how that feels, and you could take your left wrist and side bend over to the right. Come on out of that. You're always welcome to use those blocks for support. Slow and steady. Take your right leg towards like a pigeon. Slide your left knee back. You might bring your right foot in a little and slowly decelerate that sitting down. See if you can slow down, strengthen into the hips. Beautiful. Okay, let's pick it up, take it over to the other side. Left leg external, right leg internal. Okay, so side bend over to your left, side bend over to your right. Come into the center, point your toes, stand up on your knees. Use your blocks or not. Okay, take your left foot a little forwards, take your right knee behind, step into that 90-90. There you go. And now we're gonna stand right up onto our left leg. So shift the weight into the left leg, stand up, and take your right knee into your chest. So you can either hold onto it and hug it in. You can take your big toe and kick it out. Try to keep your hips back a bit as you lift through your spine. Let's take a couple breaths there. Let's release that leg and come back into our 90-90. So decelerate, slow down that descent. See if you can land right into that 90-90. You might take a quick side bend, hold your right wrist, side bend over to the left, little tuck of the tail there. You don't want to get stuck like that, but it's nice for hip extension. Come on up. Left foot, might hover it for a breath. See if you can do that. And take it into your pigeon. Slide the right knee back, maybe pull that left heel in, and slow down that lower down. And switch your legs over to the other side. Left leg internal, right leg external, okay? Side bend over to your right. Side bend over to the left, a little bit awkward. Perhaps. Not the same for everyone. Come on up, point your toes, stand up on your shins. Take that right foot a little forwards, slide the left knee behind, take the weight in the left foot, take the right foot into that 90-90, and now we're gonna stand up. So push into the right foot, take the left knee into the chest. Either stay there, take the big toe, hips behind you a bit. Breathe there. How's your thoughts and your body tension and your feeling of exploration and playfulness? Okay, we're gonna slowly let this go and land in that 90-90. So go nice and slow. Take a side bend, left arm up, grab that left wrist, go over to the right. Come on up. Right leg pigeon. Left knee back. Right foot a little in. Slowly lower. It's like you're resisting the floor. Come on up and over to the other side. So we'll keep going with this. Okay, side bend left. You might even pick up your right ankle and pull it behind you. See how that feels. Side bend right. See if that right hip is a little more willing to come to the floor. Come on up there. Point your toes, stand up on your shins. Left foot out, pigeon it, right knee in. 90-90 lunge, left foot forwards. We're gonna stand up, maybe for some all the way up into big toe. There you are. Or hold your knee, take a couple breaths. Now we're gonna take a warrior three. So float that right leg behind and tip forwards, teeter-totter your torso forwards. And you might take your arms out to the sides like an airplane or even interlock them behind. Squeeze those shoulder blades together a little bit, take a couple breaths. Okay, let's come all the way back up. And then we're gonna slowly come into our 90-90, right foot back. Take a side bend. Grab your right wrist, go over to the left. Come on up. Left foot into that pigeon variation, right? And now let's actually come forwards, and you can take your blocks for this or slide your right leg back and find a bit of a pigeon, a high pigeon. You can use your hands, but if you want to make this more challenging, you can float your hands. So we'll come up into like an uplifted pigeon, and then either use your hands to melt down or really think about that left hip moving back behind you and let your hands come back behind you. Maybe your forehead taps the ground. Let's do that 2 more times. Come up. Beautiful. And then come down. You're welcome to use your support of your blocks or your hands. Come up. And come down. Okay, stand back up on that left shin. Ooh, hips. So you're back in that kind of starting position, left foot pigeon, right knee in. And then slide your right knee back, left foot in, slowly lower. And you might feel some fatigue in that left hip if you were doing the hands-free variation. Lower down there. And now let's try to see if you can resist tipping over to the left, but try to lift your right foot off the floor. Oh, right hip. Right, so I'm gonna tip a little, but I'm gonna minimize that. So lift and hold for a breath, and I'm gonna try to slowly, smoothly slow down my breath, because it's a bit stimulating for me to do that. And just let my nervous system get that action in that right hip, and then melt into it. Notice if there's a little more give there. Okay, let's come up and over to the other side, so good. Okay, right side bend. Maybe hold the ankle and encourage the knee away. How does that feel? Come on up, and that left side a little. Up and over to the left. Come on forwards, point the toes. Stand up on the shins. Right foot out, left knee hugs in behind. Got our like really uplifted pigeon. Right foot forwards, 90-90. Push into that right foot, maybe for some, knee in or all the way up into big toe. Ooh, find your balance. Buttocks behind you, so get your butt behind you a bit and lift up through the front of your spine, through that anterior spine. Maybe lift the leg a little higher. Where's your just right challenge here? And then let that left leg go and come into your warrior three. So there might be some buoyancy in your right leg. Maybe your hands come behind an interlock. couple of breaths there. Okay, we're gonna let that go, come on up. And then that slow movement to the 90-90. Right, and then the right foot into that kind of pigeon. Make sure it's externally rotated enough for you to slide that left leg back. So you can use your blocks, you can use your fingertips on the floor, or you can go hands-free and really fire up that left glute and the hamstring. And I like to keep the knee elevated here. So you can come up and big lengthen, and then as you come forward, you might float your hands or use them on the floor. Maybe the forehead taps down, that right hip is really elevated and pulling to the back of your left foot, or the right hip. The right hip is elevating and pulling to your left foot. Come on up, and then down. So strong in that right hip, come on up. And then down. Now here's the hard part, is you stand back up on that right shin and bring the left foot in. Slide that left knee in, maybe pull the right heel a little more under you and slow down that motion to come back. Okay, now we're gonna try not to lean too far to the right and see if we can lift up that left foot off the ground. This side's a lot harder for me to keep it in the hip and not so much in the side body. So slower, smoother, softer breaths if you can. Maybe hover it or let it come down and up. That's great too. Even imagine, that your knee is getting heavier and your foot is getting lighter if this is a really challenging action for you. If it's foreign, it's new, that's great. Congratulate yourself. Your nervous system is learning something new. It's beautiful. Oh, release that down. See if your left hip is a little more willing to melt to the ground. Let's go over to the other side. Okay. Left side bend. Maybe take that right ankle, pull it back. Right side bend. How does it feel different there? Point your toes, come on up. Extend the hips. Left foot a little forwards, right knee behind you in that kind of high uplifted pigeon thing. Left foot forwards, 90-90. Stand all the way up. Take your knee or your big toe. You might even elevate your left arm. Mind naturally wants to do that. Maybe lift the leg a little higher. Nice uplifted spine, warrior 3. Your variation with the arms. Half moon. Okay, so left hand, it might want to block, so you can grab it. Or fingertips come to the floor, to the pinky toe side of the foot, and open your right hip a little on top of your left. And maybe, just as we did in the side bend, lift your knee a little high or even pull it into your chest. Take your right ankle and reach that knee away with your grip on your right ankle. Take a breath there. Okay, you might stay here for a couple breaths. Some of you, if you want to go off your mat, could circle your right fingertips over till it come to the floor and you sort of look under your right armpit. Like that. And then maybe you even aim your fingertips like behind you and let both hands come to the floor and then bring your knee over and find a little puppy press. Your knee kind of pushes forwards and then land it back in your half moon. Come on up to stand, knee into the chest. Slowly lower into your 90-90. You're back on that diagonal. Left foot into the high half pigeon. Right foot lengthens back. Come on up and down. Left hip super strong here. Come on up. Push the left hip a little forwards, and then as you come down, pull it back and strengthen it towards the right heel. One more time. Maybe you let the back knee drop and bend the back knee and find a Raj. And then down. Hard part here is push into that left shin, bring the right knee in. Yeah. And then bring the right knee back, left heel more underneath your groin. Slowly lower. All that work in the left hip. Okay, let's give the left hip a break. Try to stay a little more centered over your pelvis and lift your right foot off the floor. Slow, smooth breath. Sometimes you can even like hold your fists and push them out to the side so you're trying to create a little more tension in your upper body. Exhale, release it. See if you can melt that right hip. Okay, up and over to the right. Side bend to your right. Well, maybe grab your left ankle and reach through your left knee. Side bend to your left. Come on up, point your toes. Stand up on your shins. Right foot out, left knee in, that half pigeon. 90-90, right foot forwards. Big toe or hold your knee. Come on up. How's it feel to challenge yourself a little here? Maybe your right arm comes up. Warrior 3, your transition. Yeah. Whatever you'd like to do with your arms, make it yours. Okay, half moon, right fingertips come to that pinky toe edge. Left arm comes up. You can pull the knee in, take the top of the ankle, and open it up. Or you can allow the leg to really open up. Wherever you're at, some folks might want to turn the fingers behind, like to the back, or to the right side of the mat, and take that left hand over, sprinkle the fingertips to the floor, and look up under your armpit. And then if you're a puppy presser, you can press both hands to the ground, pull that knee forwards, come up onto your right tiptoes, and come up. And then back into your half moon. All the way up. Knee into the chest, that slow lower into your 90-90. There you are. Right foot in. You got that half pigeon. Left foot back. Up and down. Strong right hip. Inhale up. And exhale, lower down. Right hip pulls back to the left foot. Up, maybe that back knee comes down. You take your hands behind you. Bend your back knee. Raj Kapotasana. And down. Stand up on that right shin, left knee in. Yeah, watch out for the hamstring cramp. And then slide that left knee back, right heel underneath you. Slowly lower. Stay centered as much as you can. See if you can lift so hard on me on this side. Left foot off. Keep it in the hip if you can. Try to keep that left side waist nice and long. Slow, smooth, soft breath. Do you like the challenge, or do you want to run away from it, or do you want to numb and push through it? Like, just notice your relationship to that. All is welcome. Drop it down, see if your left hip is a little more melty. Okay, last one. Up and over. Side bend left. Maybe grab that ankle, pull it back. Side bend right. Come on up, point your toes, stand on your shins. Left foot forwards, right knee in, that half pigeon. Little posterior tip of the pelvis. 90-90. Stand up. Big toe or knee. Maybe elevate your left arm. Warrior 3. Half moon. Maybe take the ankle, as we did. You can play there. You can come into that dripping half moon. You can try the puppy press. And then you can land it back into your half moon, and then take your right arm over and come into more of a standing split. So your hips are a little more, your belly button is facing the floor, right leg up. And then for some, if you like, root your hands and come up into your arm balance, or play with it. You can always come to the wall. So it's your left foot that's coming back down, and we're gonna slowly lower into the 90-90. There we are. Left foot pigeon. Right foot back if you like. Melt into it if you like. Or up and down. One. Strong left hip up. and down. Make it expansive for you. Up maybe, back, and down. Stand up on that left shin, right leg in. Ooh, little tuck of the pelvis, lengthen your back. Right knee back, left heel underneath you. Slow it down, sink that right hip, lift that right leg. My left leg wants to get involved. Maybe use that global tension with your hands out to the sides. Slow, smooth, soft breath, if that works for you. Melt it down a little, up and over to the other side. Side bend right. Maybe take that left ankle. Play with it a little, let it be messy. Side bend left. Mix up your lefts and right, who cares? Point your toes. Come on up onto your shins. Yes, right heel out, left knee in. Little tuck of the pelvis. 90-90, stand up, left big toe. Doesn't matter what you're doing with your arms. Check out different variations. Warrior 3. Half moon. Maybe knee in, open it up. Dripping half moon. Look up under your left armpit, puppy press. Half moon. Standing split. So both hands down, lifting that back leg up. Teeter-totter your head forwards, your back leg up. Maybe there's a press or a hop into an arm balance. Right foot down, slowly lower, 90-90. Little pelvic tuck, right foot that pigeon, left foot back. Okay, use your blocks or not. Fold in. Come on up. Fold in. Right hip so strong. Come on up. Fold in. Maybe let that back knee come down. Come on up. Bend your back knee. Where's that foot? Stand up on your right shin, left knee in. Little pelvic tuck there. Left knee back. Foot underneath you. Slowly lower. Hips centered. Lift that left ankle as much as you can. Hands out to the sides, maybe some tension. Slower, smoother, softer breath. Whatever your challenge is, get curious about it. How you're reacting. Everything's welcome, just notice. Melt into that left hip. All right.